All right, so I'm Dr. Una, and I am the founding pediatrician of Ivy League Pediatrics. And I am also the founder of the Dr. Una Academy. And my goal is to get you from where you are to where you need to be. It's really as simple as that. And today we're going to talk a lot about, some new stuff coming up and all that. But I'm really here because I want to serve you guys. So this is really gonna be great. All right. I talked about my superpower over my birthday, and this is my superpower. I take people to the updated version of themselves. I take you from you to you 2.0, right? Because the you are now can only create the life you have now. If you want a better life, you just have to become a different person. It's really as simple as that. So, hi. So I'm here. We're here. This is going to be fun. Okay, so I want you to type in the comment section. Okay, we're going to get into some content in a little bit. But if you had to pick, you're like, Dr. Una, this is the one thing I want to get out of this 1 hour time with you. What would that thing be? Okay, so this is crushing obstacles. And you're like, okay, there's this obstacle I want to overcome, or there's this I want to know about, or this thing that's been a trap and I want to figure it out. So if that's you, I just want you to, not if that's you, I want you to type in the comment section, this is what I'm trying to overcome, okay? So chat in the chat, okay? All right, so today we're going to be looking at crushing obstacles, all right? And I'm going to be sharing one mistake or myth, if you will, about success, and you'll tell me if you can resonate with that. And that's this. We live in a social media age, and when you're going through challenges or you're struggling or you're trying to push through obstacles, trying to break down a wall to accomplish something, you kind of feel like, man, my life is so different. It's so hard. It's so difficult. And then you go on Facebook and you're scrolling and, that person is pretty. They just bought a car. They just bought a house. She just had another baby. Babies are so pretty. And you feel like, wow, I must just not have it together, And it's a myth. It doesn't exist. It's not real. And the reason for that is I don't know about you, but when I have bad days, I don't know that I put it on social media, right? If there's a struggle, I don't know that I put it on social media. I don't do any of that. Everybody puts on social media their best foot, right? So we live in a generation where we're surrounded with perfect images that it makes us a little too overcome with the struggles that we go through. And the truth of the matter is everybody goes through struggles. Everybody has challenges. It's always hard before it's easy. It's just the way life is. And what even makes it worse is that you go into a theater, you watch a 2-hour movie, right? So if you went to watch Wakanda, they go from, the king killed one of the princes, and the prince grew up, and the prince was mad, and the prince went to Wakanda, and they killed him in Wakanda, and the other, prince became the king, and they lived happily ever after. Now, in real life, right, this will probably take 20 to 30 years, but this happened in 120 minutes, right? So when we get to our own lives, we're like, I set this goal 5 hours ago. I don't know why it hasn't come to pass. It's because it takes a little longer than that. So that's a myth. So if you have struggles, obstacles, some difficulty, all of that stuff, I'm here to tell you, congratulations, welcome to the world. It's just the way it is, okay? So it is what it is. So the question now becomes, how do I overcome them, right? How do I get from, I set the goal, I hit the wall, till I accomplish the goal, right? So that's kind of what we're gonna do today. And this happens every year, and I'm happy that we're doing this in March because it's perfect timing. Usually in December, we're very optimistic. We're like, oh my God, 2018 is gonna be the best year ever, and everybody's excited. And then in January, you commit, you're like, this is going to be that year when I'm going to read. This is going to be that year, when I'm going to save money, I'm going to get out of debt. I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to do it all. And then in January, you start and, you register at the gym. You get a personal trainer on board. You start watching your diet. And then somewhere in the second week, you start falling apart and start skipping some days. And then you try to push through January. Maybe you did 40 days of fasting and you try to push through it. And then you got to February. And then the middle of February, you realize that you're not watching what you eat. Um, you're no longer reading the books. You're no longer having your accountability. You're just not doing anything. And you realize that it's now more of the same. You realize that, you know what? I thought 2018 was going to be different, but it's really the same as 2017. I'm still making all those mistakes. So this has happened to me many times. If this has happened to you, let me know in the chat. Just say, yeah, I can identify with that. And, I'll tell you about me. I've had times, maybe not you, okay? All of you on here, you guys are just awesome. But maybe it's me. But I've had times where I wrote the same to-do list, okay? The same to-do list for 1 week. Has anybody on here done that? The same thing, like call this person, pay this bill, do this, do that, the same thing. And I didn't cross anything off because it didn't get done. It simply didn't get done. So maybe that's you, where you're like, the productivity thing is just not working for me. All right. I've had years, like, I have it, I think it was, I don't remember what year it was. It could have been 2008, 2009 or so, where I got to 2009, I'm setting my goals. I'm like, this is going to be a wonderful year. And then I stumbled on my goals from 2008, and I'm looking at both of them. I'm going like, dude, these are the same goals, right? A few of them were different, but it's the same thing. I'm like, I carried over goals for the entire year, one whole year. Okay. But I learned some stuff. Okay. So I went from that, doing the same to-do list, the same goals, the same, all that stuff, hitting walls, not overcoming them. So still in the same spot, to a different person. So I want to tell you about a 2-month period, right? Over between October the 13th and December the 13th of last year. And I had learned some things by this time. So in that 2-month span, I had written a book, launched a personal development platform, did my first paid conference, had 83 people in attendance. I did a keynote for 800 kids in the Gwinnett County school system, and I did my first Power Goals Mastermind. That was all in a 2-month period. Now, mind you, at the same time, I'm being a pediatrician. I own a company. I'm a wife. I have 4 kids and all that stuff. So all of this stuff. So the question becomes, how do you go from writing the same goals, not accomplishing your goals, letting obstacles sidetrack you, to that level of productivity? Okay, so let's get into it. Now, you might say, if I ask you, maybe let me ask, will you guys be nice and type in the chat section? I want to ask a question. If I ask you, what do you need to do to overcome obstacles, right? So that you can go from, this was my best year because I did everything I was supposed to do. So what do you think you have to do? Right? Let's type. Let me give you guys a minute to do that. 30 seconds to do that. So type in the comment section. What do you know that you need to do to overcome your obstacles? What does it need to be? Okay. Someone said, I need to stay motivated. That's Chima. Okay. Very good. Thank you for the feedback, Chima. All right. So I'm waiting. What is the thing you know that you're supposed to do? Right? Maybe you quit before, all of that stuff. And you're like, someone says, stop procrastinating. Awesome. Courtney says, I need to get motivated. Okay. EJ says, I need to just do it. Stop procrastinating. Okay, excellent. Anybody else? 30 seconds almost up. All right, so I see this, stop procrastinating, get motivated, just do it. I like that, that's Nike, right? Just do it. Okay, so, but I'm gonna show you some things, okay? Because some of these things, we know them, but there's a reason why we haven't been able to do them, okay? So let's look at a few things. I'm gonna show you 3 things. So the first thing is this. If you are going to overcome obstacles, you have to become a different kind of person. You have to. So the person you are now can only produce the life that you have now. It's really as simple as that. If you say, the thing is, I want to get out of debt, right? Let's use that as an example. And your debt is 20 grand and you make 40 grand a year. If you become a 60 grand kind of person, you can come out of your 20 grand. That you just need to become a different person. You need to change. Okay, so if you hear a few things today, I need this to be one of the things that you hear. To have a different kind of life, you have to become a different kind of person. The person you are now can only produce the life that you have now. Okay, so the first thing is you got to make that decision. I've accepted that who I am right now is not cutting it. I need to become somebody else. So can we type that in the comment section? I need to reinvent. I need to become a different person. I need to reinvent. All right. So type that in the comment section. Okay. Somewhere along the line, I found out that there was nothing wrong with me. So this may have happened to you. Look at other people. Maybe they have some things in their lives that you want, and you're like, they're better than me. They know more than me. They're luckier than me. The conditions of their birth were better than mine. Their parents had money. That's why. They have a higher IQ. They're just lucky. You can't think that anymore. And the reason for that is this, and this is really good news. It took me years to find this out, but this is the truth. You're like Play-Doh. You are literally like Play-Doh. So if you look and you're like, wow, that person is able to manage their finances better. They're not better than you. You just need to remold to become a person who can manage finances. You look at somebody like, oh my goodness, they're running their business so well. They're not better than you. You just need to remold, become a different person who can manage their business better. You say, oh my God, their marriage is just flourishing, right? You just need to remold. Okay. So just, if you haven't typed it in the section, in the chat section yet, just put it there. I need to reinvent. It's great that I'm where I am now, but I need to move on. Okay. Same way, if your kid comes, yay, I did kindergarten. It was amazing. You don't tell them congratulations. You never have to go to school again. You said, great that you did that. Now it's time for first grade, right? And they get out of first grade. You're like, yes, now it's time for second grade. So in the same way, when we become adults, we kind of cap like we've arrived, right? We haven't arrived. We're somewhere. We need to move to the next level. Okay, so that's the very first thing. So the second thing is this. I want you to look at your obstacles. A lot of obstacles are internal, right? So you don't have grit. There's no perseverance. You're not able to manage your time, procrastination, all of those kind of things. I want you to look at them as bad habits, okay? And if you have somebody who has a bad habit, let's use a cocaine addict, for instance, you don't tell them, get it together, don't take cocaine anymore, figure it out, put yourself together, man. That doesn't work, okay? And procrastination is the same way. So I want you to think about this. What do you do with a cocaine addict if you really want them to get better, right? One of the things you could do is you can take them to a rehab center. What happens in the rehab center? They're in a different environment, right? And they are with people who are clean or on their way to become clean. They don't have easy access to drugs. So that way, even in their moment of weakness, there's nothing to fall back on. They change their environment. Now, I would do you a great disservice if I tell you, what do you mean you can't overcome your obstacles? Get grit. Become a person who manages their time well, overcome procrastination, get rid of fear. But that's not the way it works. What we need to do is we need to look at our bad habit of procrastination, our bad habit of laziness, our bad habit of all that stuff, the same way we look at the habit of being a cocaine addict. And we need to go into rehab. That is so funny. We need to go into rehab, okay? And what that means is we need to get out of the environment we are in to a different environment if we are going to become different people. You cannot build new habits in isolation. I mean, if you're 20, 30, 40, you've had the bad habits for 40 years. You're not going to build a new habit on your bed, in your house, with your same friends that have the bad habits as you. You're going to have to change your environment. Now, you might say, really? I took out 1 hour of my time to listen to Dr. Una tell me this, but hear me out, okay? Think about anything valuable. So think about an athlete. Think about LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant. I'm using all basketball people because I watch basketball. Okay, so I need you to think of them. Could they be stars without being in a particular environment, being in a team with other people who are working with them, with coaches, physical therapists, and all these people that are helping to make them better? Absolutely not. Their environment makes them. Okay, because you can be that basketball player that doesn't feel like waking up in the morning to go work out, but you don't have a choice because there's nothing else to do. You may feel, oh, I have a game on Saturday, I don't feel like going. There's no such thing, because the team gets on the bus, gets on the plane, you are going. Do you see what I mean? There's no such thing as a successful athlete without the right environment. A lot of the people who go to the Olympics, they move, they leave their parents' houses, they leave their state, they go to another state to go live around a training facility, right? With fellow high achievers, with great coaches, and that's how they enshrine their success, okay? You need a different environment. Think about me, there's a vent here, right? And I turn on the air conditioning, I stay under the vent, and I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna be cold, I'm not gonna be cold, I'm not gonna be cold, I'm gonna be hot, right? And you go like, Dr. Una, really? Just move away from the vent, right? That's the environment. You can't escape the environment. If you grow up in Paris, in Paris, you're gonna end up speaking French. You don't have to try. You don't have to work hard at it. It's the environment is just gonna produce that. There's an environment for champions. There's an environment where you can build your power habits, and it's in the same place with other people like you. So I want you to look at it this way. Could it be that the reason why you're not as healthy, wealthy, and happy as you want to be could be because of the contacts on your cell phone? Could that be the reason why? Could it be your social circle? Because it is, okay? I speak English because I grew up in an environment where English was spoken. It really is as simple as that. So in the same way, if you're trying to overcome fear, procrastination, issues with time management, you're not going to do it in isolation. You're not going to do it by yourself. You're going to need an environment. Okay? So I'm going to need some feedback, okay? So I need you guys to type, I'm getting this. This makes sense, okay? You cannot allow your social circle to choose you. You choose your circle, because your circle will determine if you are going to make it or not, all right? So I think I'm talking to the right crowd, but it's the environment, okay? So you got to take a look at your cell phone. You got to take a look at your contacts. You got to take a look. Who are my friends? Who do I hang out with? And it's not just people. What books am I reading? What CDs am I listening to? What shows am I watching? It's your environment is forming you whether you like it or not. Okay, so if you're the kind of person you watch a lot of the CSIs, criminal investigations, Snapped, all of that stuff, if you're in a dark house and a door slams shut, right? You have all these thoughts going through your mind. And the reason for that is your environment, what you let in there. Okay, so your environment is the most important thing. You're not going to cultivate good habits in the wrong environment. Okay, so if there are people that need to go, they need to go. Don't feel sorry. Look, listen, if you have a friend that's never kept a job, that is knee high in debt and is not trying to get out, like, dude, why are you working so hard? This is just the way it is, right? When you look at your bank account and you don't see the amount of money that you want to see in there, it is directly related to that friend you have. Get rid of the friend. Okay, it's not sentimental. And I'm not saying be mean to people. I'm just saying you got to control your environment. If you don't want to be cold, put off the air conditioning. It's really as simple as that. Okay, you got to control your environment. So one of the things I want you to do after this webinar, I want you to take a look at who's in your social circle. Take a look at the shows you've been watching. Take a look at the books you've been reading or have not been reading. You gotta control that environment. So what that means is, if I'm working on finances, this is that year when I want to get out of debt. This is that year when I want to put away stuff for savings in savings. This is that year when I want to make quality investments. The question becomes, what kind of books should I be reading? What kind of people should I be talking to? What kind of new networks do I need to create? We got to do this on purpose. Okay, we don't wait in the winter and say, oh, you know, whatever the thermostat wants to do, let it do. We don't do that, right? When the winter comes, we make sure the heat is on and we set it at 70 or 68 or 72, whichever, but we control it. We control our external environment. This internal environment is more important because it produces everything else. We gotta control it. We have to control it, okay? All right, so number one is we gotta make the decision to reinvent ourselves. Number two is we got to change our environment. We gotta change it, okay? Number three, every environment has a president, okay? The president of your environment is the mentor. You gotta have mentors, man. You have to have mentors. Okay, so I'll give you an example. I've said this before. Some of you may have heard it. I used to be a very moody person. I used to be a very depressed person. I always woke up on the wrong side of my bed. Always, okay? And I tried to fix it, you know, the same thing. Get yourself together. When you wake up, be happy. It's a great day. You have no reason to be sad. You live in the best country in the world, and you know, all that kind of stuff. But that didn't fix it, okay? What fixed it was, I'm married to my mentor. My husband is my mentor. And it was a very simple thing of when I wake up in the morning, I wake up on the wrong side of the bed, acting the fool, doing all that stuff. He sits me down. He's like, okay, please explain what exactly it is that's going on. Accountability. And like every girl, you cannot come with a real reason, right? So you blow smoke and come up with all this stuff that don't exist. And he sits and he holds me accountable. He doesn't let me off the hook. So this is like a 30-minute, 1-hour process. And, you know, one day I was like, you know what? I can't. I can't keep dealing with this. You know, I have to look him in the face and I have to explain, and he won't let me off the hook. I'll shed the tears. He gives me tissue, but he doesn't let me go. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done being moody. I don't want to be moody no more. Right? So what changed that is the mentor. Okay. So now you guys heard me talk about October 13th to December 13th and all the things that happened. It was so many things. But one thing that happened right before that was I had a new input from my mentor. I had a new mentor that came on board, threw in a lot of stuff, and all of a sudden, all these new possibilities that I didn't know existed came to life. You need mentors. You need mentors. You're not going to be able to do it without that. You know, people say there's no shortcut to success. Not true. There is a shortcut to success, and it's mentors. It's people who have been where you are trying to go. Okay. You might say, yeah, we know these things. You know, we've heard about them. So listen, I need you to hear me. Okay. You want to be promoted at work. You wanted to start a new business. You want your business to maybe double its revenue. You want to have a better marriage, better relationship with your spouse or your parents, or maybe you even want to get married. You want to get out of debt. All of that, all of it is tied to, am I willing to make the decision to reinvent myself? Am I willing to get rid of the wrong environment and on purpose create the right environment? Am I willing to buy into the idea that I need a mentor? Okay. Some people say experience is the best teacher. No, it's not. Why would you want experience to be your best teacher? Okay, let me ask you a question. Have any of you decided, oh, this is a business that I'm going to do, and you threw money at it and it completely failed and you lost all your money? If you've done that before, I need you to say yes. Just type that in the chat section. Yes, I've done that. I've done that. Thrown away stuff, right? Maybe even went to college and you're like, oh, this is the best degree I should do because this is my plan. And you got out and you realize, shoot, I went up the wrong tree. right? Florence says yes. You're just like, I've done that for sure, right? Right? Now imagine if somebody could tell you, no, this is what you need to do. Imagine if somebody could guide you. I mean, think about it, okay? It is as silly as a newborn saying, oh, thank you all for bringing me into the world, but I got this. How long would that newborn survive? Not long, right? And I'm saying newborn. I mean, think about a teenager, right? Who's even been alive for 18 years. And they tell their parents, their teachers, their coaches, everybody, nobody should tell me what to do. I'm grown. I got this. I'm moving out. We know that's a disaster waiting to happen. We know that. Why? Because we need coaches. We need mentors. We need people to show us the way. Okay. And this may have happened to you. And I'm going to ask again, if it's happened to you, say yes. Every time I sit with my mentors, I sit with my husband, and I come with this problem, right? It's a serious problem. I've had this problem for 2 years. And I'm like, okay, so this is what I'm going through and I don't know how to deal with it. And in 5 minutes, they've dismantled a problem I had for 5 years or 2 years, or whatever, right? Why? Because they're mentors. That's what they're for. Has that happened to you? If that's happened to you, type that in the chat. It's happened to me. It's happened to me so many times. Actually, I had a conference call with one of my coaches yesterday, and I had this thing I've been confused about, like, I don't know what to do. You know, you may have had problems like me where you don't even know how to frame the problem. You don't know how to describe the problem. That's how big and confusing it is. And I'm like, okay, I don't really know how to explain this, but this is kind of what's going on. And in 2 sentences, I kid you not, 2 sentences, it was done. It was gone. The problem no longer existed. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, you know, whatever I paid you guys, I probably still owe you. Okay, so yeah, we need mentors. So I need you to imagine with me, okay? I need you to imagine that this is December 2018, and unlike any other year, you looked at your goals and you crossed everything off. I need you to imagine that you got that promotion at work. I need to imagine you got out of debt. You know, maybe your marriage was having some shaky stuff to it and you fixed that. I need you to imagine that. I need you to imagine the second quarter of the year that you doubled your income. You doubled what was coming in through your business. You doubled what you did in the first quarter. Because, you know, the first quarter of the year is about to end in about 14 days or so, right? It's almost gone. But the second quarter was at least double the first. I need you to imagine that. Right? Because that's what I'm going for. That's what I hope you're going for too, because we're not going to let stuff stop us. So whatever may have looked as an obstacle, I don't even have to ask what the obstacle is. If you would reinvent, if you change your environment, if you get mentors on board, you can fix it. Okay? You can absolutely fix it. So that, you know, that's kind of what I'm thinking about, you know? So maybe you're like me. See, this is the way I reason. All right. I've bought things from the store. I thoroughly dislike things bought from the store that need to be put together. Okay. Anybody that knows me knows that. I'm like, don't give me a thing in a box and put a manual in it. Just put it together. Maybe some of you are like me. Okay. So I just want someone, like, just give me the roadmap. Just show me, just say, go from here to here to here and you'll get there. That's all I want. I'm not complicated. Not complicated. That's all I want. Okay. So how many of you know that you're going to need some help with this? You're going to need some help to put this all together, to overcome the fear, overcome the procrastination, overcome the time management issues. You're going to need some help. So, because you have 3 choices. You can say, thank you so much. I'm so glad I came for the webinar. I got this. I'm going to do it on my own. You can say that. You can say you're going to do that. You can decide to do it on your own. That's one. You can decide not to do it at all. You're like, same old, what will be, right? And I hope you're not saying that. I don't believe there's anybody on this call that would say that, okay? Or you can allow me to walk alongside you and fast track you, because that's what I do. I'm a shortcut, Okay, so I want to introduce you to the Reinvention Mastermind. So if you were there for my birthday, we talked about the reinvention movement, right? TRM, we talked about that. And the goal for that is I wanted to be in a position to serve 1,000 people. And I'm like, I serve 1,000 people who at my birthday next year could go like, oh my goodness, 2018 was my best year yet ever. This is what happened, okay? And I really want for your story to be one of those stories, okay? So I'll tell you what this is. It's a 90-day coaching network. So it's going to start the beginning of the second quarter to the beginning of, to the end of the second quarter. So a 3-month period. And this is the goal: double your productivity, double it, okay? So whatever you're doing now, double it. So you have more money, better health, better relationships. Okay, so